Hello. I share all that I love about Magic the Gathering with all of you on this channel. There's so much about Magic the Gathering that I love, from products and accessories to cards from the past or present. I get to bring everything that I love about this great game to all of you every single week. And yet, there's something here today that I love that I get to bring to you soon, but I can't show you today. Okay. I'm going to give you a little peek. There it is. I want so badly to show this to you right now, and I don't understand why I can't, but powerful forces have told me that I can't, and so here it is. Soon it will be revealed. Soon I will get to show you this thing that has been a monumental undertaking on my part, on many people's parts. A love letter to the Magic the Gathering community. No, it's not a statue. I just have these old things and I like them. But in the meantime, I invite you to guess at what it is the professor is bringing to you. What it is the professor has dreamed up this time. And while you do, I want to talk about this reprint and the Pioneer format. A lot of people have been making a really big deal of Thirst for Knowledge's reprint in Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. It hasn't been in standard for nearly 20 years. And while it has been reprinted in supplemental products, it was only standard playable once prior, during the original Mirrodin block. An interesting connective tissue to the current set, because Mirrodin, of course, became corrupted into the plane of New Phyrexia, whose praetor Jin-Gitaxias traveled from to Kamigawa's Neon Dynasty in order to snare and complete Tamio. Sadly, as far as Pioneer is concerned, that is where the excitement with this card ends. Because while this had not previously been Pioneer legal, it did have a very close counterpoint. Thirst for Meaning, which is the exact same card, only for enchantments instead of artifacts. And while Pioneer has had, and currently does have, enchantment strategies in everything from blue and white to other attempts at color combinations, the type of artifact-relevant synergy that Thirst for Knowledge would require doesn't exist, and sadly is unlikely to be brought into play by this card's entrance into the format. But that is not to say that Kamigawa Neon Dynasty offers nothing for Pioneer. In fact, there's quite a lot to get excited about for Pioneer from this new set. So much, in fact, that it was very, very hard to limit my picks for Pioneer from Kamigawa Neon Dynasty down to just 5 cards, but somehow I managed to do it, well, with an honorable mention and a few shenanigans. So presented here are the top 5 cards from Kamigawa Neon Dynasty for the Pioneer format. Oh, I wish I could show you this. Soon. So there really is a lot for Pioneer from this new set, and I have to start with an honorable mention. Mobilizer Mech. A 3/4 flying vehicle for 1 and a blue. Whenever Mobilizer Mech becomes crewed, up to 1 other target vehicle you control becomes an artifact creature until end of turn. Crew 3, meaning tap any number of creatures you control with total power 3 or more, and this vehicle becomes an artifact creature until end of turn. From the recently printed Colossal Plow to the Kaladesh originals like Consulate Dreadnought, Pioneer has long been home to vehicles as a fringe playable deck. Unfortunately, for the big splashy vehicles previously mentioned, they require large counts, meaning either multiple creatures or a workaround like Giant Ox, which is where Mobilizer Mech comes in. Each time Mobilizer Mech is crewed, it also gets to turn the ignition on another vehicle. I think we can all agree Crew 3 is much more doable than a Crew 6, so this 2-drop flying mech is going to be a linchpin for any vehicle-themed deck in Pioneer hoping to rocket its way to the forefront of the format. Plus, Crew 3 means any of the new pilot creatures can crew the mech and start up that 7-11 or 6-3 that gives us life and mana back. Do you think a Class C driver's license lets me drive in Kamigawa? Something important to note, however, is the newly implemented changes to the crew ability on vehicles. Originally, vehicles could crew themselves once they were made creatures, which would have allowed mobilizer mech to easily get 2 animation triggers from its initial crewing, and then from crewing itself, something that was possible even if it still had summoning sickness. Alas, as of the release of Kamigawa, this is no longer the case. But even so, I'm not going to count out vehicles from becoming a mid-tier option, and at the very least, they're going to be a racing good time in Pioneer. So let's move along to number 5, Secluded Courtyard. 5-color humans is a classic and time-honored tradition in the modern format. Now, the mana base of that deck uses a lot of modern-only legal lands, like Cavern of Souls and Ancient Ziggurat, but the creature base is rooted in Pioneer sets. Mantis Rider, Reflector Mage, Kitesail Freebooter, these are all under the roof of Pioneer, but played in Modern because of that mana base. Well, thanks to Secluded Courtyard, Pioneer players can now more easily forego the long-standing Orzhov human decks and push the real limits of human tribal. And yes, this is still not Cavern of Souls, but it might just be good enough to let other tribal decks start having a bigger impact in the format. I wouldn't be surprised to see slivers slithering their way to the foreground. With all the possibilities this land brings to the table, it's hard to believe it's only an uncommon. Coming in at number 4 is White Scavenging Ooze. No, wait, I'm sorry, it's Lion Sash. Boy, Wizards of the Coast has sure been designing better cards for Magic's weakest color. So while Lion Sash might look just like a Scavenging Ooze only in white, only of course this time getting a +1/+1 counter for each permanent card instead of creature, Lion Sash actually has another trick tucked away in its billowing folds, thanks to this new Reconfigure mechanic. Being able to equip onto a creature lets you add its power to an evasive flyer, or make massive swings in life totals on a life linker. But the most important part of Reconfigure is being able to hide from removal spells while still adding to board pressure. Supreme Verdict isn't anything to fear while you've got a massive Lion Sash standing around after the dust settles. Reconfigure is a very exciting mechanic where you can build tall without the normal pitfalls and punishments. And this is by far the best Reconfigure card. I can't imagine this not finding a home in the various white aggressive decks, and it's an outstanding piece of main boardable graveyard hate in a format full of graveyard-based decks. Talk about fashionable futuristic value. Coming in at number 3 is an even better Ensoul Artifact, which has long been a favorite card of mine and tied to some really solid and true strategies in the Pioneer format. So what if we threw the ability to animate an artifact onto a Planeswalker with an ability that lets us sculpt our hand to perfection? That's right, I'm talking about Tezzeret, Betrayer of Flesh. Blue-based control decks in Pioneer are constantly tinkering around with cards like Mazemind Tome to outvalue their opponents as games go long. But drawing a card comes at a cost Tezzeret now makes free. And with Pioneer being home to plenty of other impactful artifacts waiting to be discovered, as well as counterspells like Metallurgic Rebuke or the also new in Kamigawa Disruption Protocol, maybe it's just about time Pioneer players headed to the machine shop to see what they can create while trying to fulfill that ever-ongoing thirst for knowledge. Oh wait, it might not have warped the format around it. That doesn't mean it's completely unplayable. So just what are the 2 most powerful new cards for Pioneer from Kamigawa Neon Dynasty? So let's get this out of the way right now. The number 2 pick is a 5-way tie between the Channel lands. These lands are way too powerful. Channel was a powerful ability printed on weaker cards in the past, but this is far beyond the power of the modal DFC lands from Zendikar Rising. Those cards either came into play tapped or cost 3 life to come into play untapped. Bosaiju is the biggest offender of this power creep. This is a no downside untapped green source that is also an assassin's trophy. Sure, it can't get planeswalkers or creatures that aren't also artifacts or enchantments, but this is main deckable removal. Any green 2-color deck can main deck 2 Bosaiju for free. The only downside is if your opener contains exactly both Bosaiju and no other lands. It's even tutorable by Sylvan Scrying. It's the most expensive card in the set for a reason. It's going to be an auto-include in any green deck in Standard, any green deck in Commander, Cube Draft, Oathbreaker if that's still around, it is, and it's going to make some major waves in Pioneer. But that doesn't mean Otawara isn't equally as powerful, or at least darn near letting you bounce anything for free regardless of protection effects. Iganjo is removal that avoids color protection and counter magic, while Sokenzan gives 2 tokens that can be transmogrified into real threats. And that right there is a card that Jeskai Yorian is gonna love. And while I would say that Takenumo is the worst of the best utility lands, it's still one of the best cards from this set for Pioneer. And oh, did I mention that it, as well as all of these lands, are uncounterable and not affected by Thalia, Guardian of Thraben? They don't even care about your opponent's deafening silence. Talk about a Grand Slam cycle. So what is the most powerful new Pioneer card from this set? Well, it's a white card, a white legendary. Here we go again, another new set, another sweet legendary white 2-drop. Light Paws, Emperor's Voice. I love this card. It lets us have 2 things that Magic rarely lets us have: free spells and multiple tutor effects. Let's just give Light Paws a quick read here. Whenever we cast an aura spell, we can get 1 of equal or lesser value for free. That's right, it's Crazy Paws Discount Aura Warehouse, and it's open for business. Casting a Griff's Boon or a Cartouche of Solidarity? Well, then you get a free ethereal armor, you get a free ethereal armor, you get a free ethereal armor. All that glitters all the more as it fetches up everything from Griff's Boon to, ethereal armor. I love ethereal armor. Orzhov Auras is back. Great news for those that picked up one of the recent Pioneer Challenger decks. An amazing product that is now sitting on shelves for a lot less than you might think. They might not have come with arena codes like they should, but that doesn't mean these decks don't become a better and better pickup as their price plummets further and further down. Light Paws is an explosive powerhouse that must be answered, and at only 2 mana, we don't even have to get rid of our best friend Lurrus. This, my friends, is what Pioneer is all about. Reviving an older deck that has been a great budget tier 2 option and pushing it back into the limelight. As I look at all these new toys for Pioneer, I can't wait to shuffle up and play. I honestly have not been this excited about Pioneer in a long time. Did you see some cards that are going to impact the format that I left off of this list? Well, let me know in the comments below. And I hope very much this video has been of some help to you. Special thanks and shout out once again to Crew 3 Podcast for their help in developing this script. If you're looking for an awesome Pioneer podcast, I will include links in this video's description. And though waiting is often the hardest part, I will soon be able to reveal just what this is. What do you think it is? Let me know in the comments below. With tap Stark to destroy your own Darksteel Citadel, an indestructible artifact land. With that still on the stack, untap Stark using either 1000-year Elixir or Magerite Stone. Then tap Stark again to destroy your opponent's creature or artifact. Your opponent's creature or artifact will be destroyed, and they will gain control of Stark. But the destroy trigger for your Darksteel Citadel will then resolve, giving you back control of Stark. And, of course, since Darksteel Citadel is indestructible, you've lost nothing in the process. Other good targets for Stark's ability are, of course, Darksteel Pendant and Darksteel Ingot. Though with this deck, don't be afraid to destroy your own stuff, or just sacrifice Stark to avoid giving him away to an enemy.